Hey, what's the deal, YouTube? It's your girl, Miss Honey. Welcome back to the channel, you guys. It is your girl, Miss Honey, here to do another power review. I'm going to try to make this as brief as possible. I've actually been struggling with a terrible headache all day. I woke up with the headache and I still kind of have it. It's there. So forgive my low energy. But this was actually a good episode. I was kind of thrown off last week on Power. I think this episode was called He Always Gets Away with It or something like that. You guys know I'll put it in the description bar below. But um, everybody, the reviews I watched last week after mine, everybody was like, "Oh, this was a good episode. Oh, this was a good episode." The I Am Dre or Still Dre episode. I didn't think it was a great episode. I was like, well, gosh, maybe I missed something. Everybody liked the episode, but me, I just felt like a lot was left out. Well, it was kind of made up for with this episode because we did learn a lot in this episode. We learned a lot about Paz, Angela's sister, and a lot of the stuff that she's going through. I could kind of relate to it because if you guys remember, their dad, Paz and Angela's dad, has dementia. Um, and you guys know my dad has dementia. So I can kind of relate to being that caregiver and kind of having to juggle your life. Well, Angela was taking care of them. She was the reason that they lived in the nice apartment that they lived in. She was the reason that Paz's son goes to a good school. And, he's an older boy now, and I think he's in college. And Angela was paying for that too. So they're they losing Angela in their family was a huge loss. And to boot, every time Paz sees her dad calls her Angela. And more than likely it's because he wants to see Angela and he's not seeing Angela. And any woman that comes in subconsciously, he is repeating that thing that is coming up for him the most, which is Angela, Angela, Angela. And it's wearing Paz thin. The son is being worn thin because Paz is kind of all over the place since Angela passed away. I mean, she's flustered, she's afraid, she wants the crime to be solved. She really believes when the episode begins that it is James St. Patrick. She is working with the DA's office and just constantly talking with them about what's going on. Now, again, Angela took care of them. So getting her pension, that full pension, is going to be key. It's the only way her son gonna go back to school. The only way she's gonna be able to get a nursing home for her daddy, and she's gonna need a nursing home for her daddy. It's very difficult for a female to take care of a male in that way, continuously like that, especially if the male is still physically able to, or still has a lot of physical strength. It's tough. She's gonna need help. And the son's going back to school. Angela's not there. Angela wanted their dad to go into a nursing home. They won't be able to afford that. Paz, I think, works at a salon. So they need to get this money. And this was one of the reasons why the phone with all the evidence on it that Tasha had, Paz, when they buried Angela, she put it in Angela's casket. And so we see her making all of these efforts to try and bring Jamie to justice and clear Angela's name and make sure that they get this money. Now the money isn't the most important thing to Paz. The most important thing is that Angela's death be that they find the person who killed Angela. Like I said, for the first part of the episode, she continued to think that it was Jamie, but through going back and forth, talking with the DA Angela's office where she worked and all that, she talked with Stack, she talked with Blanca, she wore a wire when she went into Truth to see James and sit down and talk with him. she had a wire on. You guys remember that from before the mid-season break? She sat down and talked to him, and he told her that he loved her. He loved Angela with all his heart, and so on and so forth. You know, at that moment, she was wearing a wire. She was trying to get him to admit anything, any crime, because she had them exhume Angela's body, you know, in those little pink shoes. It's just, it was, I didn't take Angela's death hard or them burying her hard. Like, I wasn't emotional for that at all, but just seeing those little pink shoes in the casket, me as a person, I just wouldn't have had the strength to do it. I wouldn't have had the strength to do it, you know. So that kind of pulled at me a little bit. And of course, the family dynamic, how it's all set up, how it was all on her at this point, to just not only try to clear Angela's name and get some vindication for her death, but also, you know, some relief, some relief. And she had gone down to Truth when they were having, you know, this function at Truth. This is before James was shot. She had gone down there and had come very close to killing James. And that was because everything that she had tried, it failed. Recording him had failed at this time. I don't know if she had recorded. I think had recorded him, but recording him had failed. And you know, they weren't gonna. She had her sister's body exhumed. They weren't gonna. You know, they didn't find anything on the phone. The SIM card was destroyed. They had just a few text messages where she had texted some people. It proved absolutely nothing. Paz was at the end of her mental rope. She was physically exhausted, mentally exhausted. She's lost the one person that she can go and talk to and rely on and bounce things off of is Angela. She doesn't have that person anymore. Her son is continuously saying, am I going to get the money for school? Did you get the money for school? Did you get the money for school? He wants to be out of the situation too. He doesn't want to be there taking care of an elderly person. He doesn't want to be responsible for his grandfather. He loves his grandfather, but he doesn't want to be responsible for him. He wants to go away and be a young person. All of this is weighing on her. And she goes to sleep, puts the gun down, puts the money down. Now, she also went to see Tommy. She went to see Tommy and tried to give Tommy this gun because after she saw the DA the first time she came home, got the gun, got some money out of a box under her bed, which, by the way, is an excellent hiding place, by the way. Goes out, she's going to get rid of James. She's going to kill James. Goes to the club. It's packed with people. She following him around. She gets to this point where she's got a clean shot, and all of these memories start to flash back in her head about Angela and things that were said about Angela, because she went to see Tommy. She wanted Tommy to kill James because James killed her sister. Of course, Tommy said, I can't do that. I want you to kill the person that killed my sister. Or I'm not going to be able to do that because he's the person that killed her sister. And he said she wasn't perfect. She wasn't perfect. She wasn't all that great. You know, she wasn't as angelic. And she went to see Tasha. Tasha, let's band together. Let's do this together. Let's get rid of James together. And Tasha tells her he can't be stopped. He can't be stopped. He won't ever be held accountable for anything that he does. And she's just at her wit's end. She's at this club and she gets, you know, all of these, you know, thoughts coming through her head of everybody saying that Angela knew what she was doing. She wasn't that great of a person, you know what I mean? Like she kind of knew what was up with James, and she, you know, went along with it. She goes home and she puts the gun on the dresser next to the money, which was, you know, genius. Lays across the bed and she's crying like a baby. Her son hears her crying, checks on her. Y'all excuse me. Checks on her. She's falling asleep. He takes the gun and the money. So when she wakes up and realizes the gun and the money is gone, she tears down there the Truth, stop the son. And it was a beautiful moment where she told him, this is on me. It's not on you. It's on me. And let me do this. Let me take care of this. And she goes to kill James, and she can't do it. She instead goes back home. So the next morning, when they wake up, they realize that someone killed him. Even though she didn't have the strength to do it. Now, of course, we all know she wasn't going to kill him in a crowd full of people. I don't know what she was thinking, but when she did have a private moment to do what it was she needed to do, she decided against it. Thank goodness. And her son was like, I thought you said you didn't kill him. I didn't kill him. Somebody else must have killed him. Well, we then get to see where after Blanca and the head of the DA has told her that there's nothing they can do, she won't get Angela's pension because Angela's name had dirt on it. Basically, they suspected her of something. They couldn't prove it, but even with that suspicion on her name, that she couldn't get the money. So fast forward, James has passed, and she goes over, everybody is there to talk to the lawyer. And we see where Tommy's mom is there. She's gotten her little check. James is giving her, I guess, for helping to, taking him in when he was young. He didn't have anybody. His daddy was dead. And Tommy's mama took him in and raised the boys like brothers. So he left her something. And she goes in and finds out that he didn't leave Angela money, but he left her money. After Angela died, he went in and changed the will. So she comes out of there, and Tasha's going in. Now, she's had a moment with Tasha after she has pretty much tried to push Tasha around and get Tasha to side with her and join forces with her to take James down. And Tasha was like, it's an exercise in futility. There's no taking him down. He will never pay for what he has done. He will always slither out from underneath it. She was pretty aggressive with Tasha. She said some pretty horrible things to Tasha. And so when she realized, coming full circle, that not only was her sister not this angel, and not only was she not getting any justice for her murder, and not only was she not able to clear her name, and not only was she not going to get the pension, and she was also going to have to figure it all out, she realized what Tasha was saying about you have to protect yourself. You don't understand because you don't have kids, but at the same time, you realize the thing that you want the most, you're not going to necessarily always get that. So you're going to have to find peace and move forward, right? So when they see each other at this will thing, Tasha has a lot of compassion for her. And she tells her that she should take the money. Well, I don't want his filthy money. No, you should take the money. I don't want his filthy money. She pulls her in the office and she says, listen, despite what you think, James did not kill your sister. He did a lot of horrible things. And she would never have even been in that situation if it wasn't for James. And the fact that she was sleeping with her husband. But you should take the money because he's not the killer. It was Tommy. And it was like somebody hit pause with a sack of oranges. I mean, just the idea that she was there in the apartment with him, with a gun, and could have done it then. But because she did not know and had no malice towards him, she let him go. Okay? And she's so stunned, she can't really think about the money. Now, when she goes out and her son, the first thing he said was, did you get the money? Am I going back to school? I was like, boy, he is really ready to go back to school. Like, he don't want no parts of y'all life. And she says, yes, baby, you're going to get the money for school. Now, I don't know if she turned around and went and got that check. I don't know. But I do know she got that gun. And she went over to Tommy's house and knocked on the door and banged on the door with the gun out. She spent a good part of this episode with the gun just publicly out in the open. And so She gets there, she bams on the door and realizes that the door is slightly ajar, and she goes in and she sees that the entire loft is completely bare. I mean, he took everything, spoons, forks. I looked like he dusted, swept, vacuumed the hardwoods, wiped the windows clean. I mean, it was ready to show. And she realized the person that killed her sister got away from her like that. And she just screams in agony. It is a moment. It is a moment. This is a really good episode. It's a good episode. We learn a lot about Angela's family dynamics. We learn a lot about Paz's mental state leading up to everything that happened. We learn a lot about how much she went through to try to clear her sister's name. And we saw Paz come full circle to where she kind of accepted who Angela turned out to be. Angela loved James, and nothing was going to change that. She worked hard to try to get over James, to get him out of her system, and it was something that she just could not do. She just could not do. Even her father, Paz and Angela's father, every time they would say James, say Patrick, he would just have so much venom. Stay away from that boy. He's bad news. He's bad for you. Stay away from it. We learned that Paz worked hard to get Angela to go to school at Choate, because they was trying to get her out from under James, because they were just that close. The relationship, the bond that they had it since adolescence. And he was wrong for bringing another woman into a situation where he was married and giving her this false hope and just helping her to fall that much deeper with him. But she was wrong, because the moment she found out that he was married and that he had children and all of these things, she could have cut her losses there. Still would have been hurt, but she wouldn't have been in as deep. And so we learned a lot of that in this episode. So that, for me, is what made this episode a good episode. I do find it ironic that the last 5 episodes are spent giving us a lot more introspection of the characters than we had in the last 3 seasons, I would say. The Kendrick Lamar season, to me, was a good season, and I enjoyed, obviously, that episode with Kendrick Lamar. I didn't enjoy the Dre episode because I felt like it was really, really rushed. I do feel like that the writers were a lot kinder with the Paz character. They were a lot kinder. They were always kind with Angela's character anyway, but yeah. I'm glad Paz didn't end up dead. Her son didn't end up dead. We didn't have a lot of death in this episode, so that was really good. I do think it was a very touching moment there towards the end, where Paz made up in her mind. She just decided, you know what, I'm not going to get any of this stuff that I need, but I can at least have my sister committed back to the ground. So she could rest. So that was a poignant moment as well. We did also get to see where the head of the DA was removed by the Democratic Party because he interfered with James being governor. That was just odd, and it seemed like a political push. Like, really? Y'all know that's something. Anyway, I digress. You guys tell me what you think of this episode. Put it down below. It was a really good episode. I would have loved to have just really picked it apart a little bit more. But again, I'm not at my ultimate best. I hope you guys enjoyed this. You guys give me something. Give me some stuff to read down below. Tell me what you think about this episode. What are some nuances that I missed that you guys noticed? I would love to hear it. Put it down below. And until next time, honeybees, mwah, 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 I holla.